Kevin McCullough.
It's That Kevin Show, oddly, because I'm called That Kevin. Glad you're with us, live from Times Square. Hilton Beckham is back with us. She's with the America First Policy Institute. And if you don't know about AFPI, they are just fighting the fight for common sense. They're just fighting the fight to have common sense, rational, conservative policy lead the way on how the country goes. And Hilton, my tease before we went to the break was this election cycle has changed. I think the parties have changed, and it's largely been because of the America First movement, which didn't start with Donald Trump. He may have kind of coined the phrase "Make America Great Again." But if you really think about it, it's the evolution of what the Tea Party movement kind of became. It was when these people got back to founding principles and saying, what is our country really supposed to be about? And they saw government continually trying to interfere with their basic rights and take away their basic privileges. And you were talking about Kamala's soliloquies before we went to break. I want to harken back to her interview with Bret Baier. She has done the same thing, not just to audiences, but to interviewers. And she gets mad at them. And she got mad at Bret Baier, but she got mad at the guy from 60 Minutes, whose name I'm forgetting, who did a great job in actually asking her, holding her feet to the fire on some of the issues. Now, CBS went and edited the hooey out of that thing, so it didn't really resemble what he got. But Whitaker, he at least asked the questions that she needed to answer. But she does. She starts on this, and SNL did a sketch on it. What do you keep in your glove box of your car? Well, Steve, when I was growing up, I was in a middle-class household. Yeah, I get the idea of marketing and getting your message out. But this has been a campaign in which American voters are looking for real solutions to actual problems. And on that front, let me have you rate the comparison of their programs, because this is now what she's starting to tout. She's starting to say, well, all these editorial pages have said my programs are going to be better than his programs. You're in this world every day like I am. Can you tell me what her programs are to get the economy fixed?
No, and that's the problem, is that I'm starting to think I'm crazy because I'll, talk about this in these interviews or study it. And I'm like, why do I not have a grasp of what she wants to do for the economy? I just you can't put your mind around it. And we're talking about, the interview she did with Bret Baier. I think it's almost hilarious that these questions that we all know are coming, about the border, about the economy, about President Biden's mental acuity. She gets asked these questions, and she acts like she's been ambushed. Like, you can see it in her face. She is like deer in headlights, and she's almost shocked. She was shocked on CBS to be asked these questions. It is your job to know that it's almost softball questions, because again, we all know they're coming. It is shocking that she just acts like she shouldn't be asked something like this, or that it's out of left field. And she almost acts like it's a gotcha interview, and it's not. And then also, she never finishes the sentence. She's asked these questions, and I think she almost got there with the Bret Baier interview when she said, I'm not going to be a continuation of the Biden administration, and then just stopped. There was no follow through. It wasn't explaining who she was. It wasn't distinguishing who she was as a candidate. She just always falls short. And I truly believe it's because she does not want it on record of what she plans to do in the administration, just in case she decides to flip-flop again. She doesn't want any footprints left that people can point to and say, hey, you said you were going to do this, but you're actually doing this. So I don't know. And maybe it's a stellar move on her part.
She's been burned by her past positions on things, certainly in this election cycle. Last minute together with Hilton Beckham, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. You're a young professional woman. Women have been the focus of both campaigns in the closing weeks. She wants America to swim in baby's blood. I've never seen anybody be more pro-abortion, just unapologetically. We want to kill as many babies as we can. I've never seen this from a candidate as aggressive as her about this. But Donald Trump has countered that with, I'm going to keep boys out of your daughter's locker rooms. We're going to go back to girls competing against girls in the field of play. And we're going to protect the women of this country. Not from your personal policy beliefs, I know what those are, but in terms of how you see them resonating with women across the country, what has been your impression of the two strategies of the candidates?
I think Donald Trump has a very good strategy, and also JD Vance. JD Vance actually surprised me a lot during his debate, when he personalized it. When he first talked about growing up with women who had abortions and they felt like it was the only option, and that they were young teenagers and whatnot. And
Which is
abortion.
why I think the protecting your daughter's strategy by the Trump team is so vital, because
Yeah.
it's one thing to talk about babies that may or may not be born at some point in the future. It's another thing to reach out to moms and say, I care about your daughters where they are.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.